before we start, who have we got in the room? Do we have some business owners? Yes. Do we have some employees? No employees? Oh, good. Awesome. Wait, just to say, because this is what I'm talking about is sort of aimed, I guess, at self-employed people. They're mostly my clients. But the topic of personal brand applies to everybody, whether you're an employee or a business owner. So it's just worth kind of thinking about. How many of you feel like your personal brand is there? No, me neither. That's what I'm sure. Yeah, we're all in the same boat. It's fine. Okay, so the title of this talk is Using Your Visual Brand to Make an Instant Impact. And the reason that I use the word instant impact, I like a little alliteration. Firechild photography wasn't an accident. But also, you know, when we meet people face to face, we can judge really quickly whether we like them or not. And it's the same with our visual brand. You know, it helps us to make that first impression really quickly with our clients and with our potential clients. So I'm going to tell you a little bit maybe about who the people who I love to work with are. So, hi, how are you? So they're people who are brilliant at what you do, but struggling to find those dream clients. Or you know that what you do is special, but you struggle to communicate it. Or even more common and important, I think, is that my clients often find that they would like to be the face of their brand, but they struggle with the idea of being photographed for a myriad of reasons. Because it can feel uncomfortable, it can feel narcissistic, but sometimes getting just a little bit uncomfortable can be a really key place of growth. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So first of all, who am I? So my name is Éadaoin Curtin. My name means little fire. I found that out when I was living in Asia for a year, and in Vietnamese, Ai Dien means who is crazy, so it was good to know what the real meaning was. And so because my name is a little tricky to spell, Firechild became something that I found when I was studying personal branding 10 years ago as a means of self-inquiry for myself. So the photography wasn't even on my radar as a business, but Firechild was something that I had come up with as I was learning about personal branding as a way to kind of ask myself how I wanted to be in the world, I suppose. So to tell you my story of why I'm here, this is my granny, this is Eileen. This is one of the first portraits that I took that I was really excited by, okay? And I know there are one or two photographers in the room, and we could pick this photograph apart technically, but what I feel I see when I look at this photograph is a portrait of a woman who was a very compassionate person, who loved animals in a way that only a farmer can. She was also a very, very creative woman who never really got a chance to express that creativity, who never really got a chance to fulfill the potential that she had in many aspects of her life. And her story is just one of a lot of stories in my family. You know, parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles who are all amazing people, but whose wings were clipped so early in life, but who did everything to make sure that mine weren't. So I have had this sort of sense of potential, but also that fear of, okay, well, how do I know what to do and what happens if I fulfill that potential? Because that's sometimes just as scary. But I've realized over the years that while that's one of my driving forces in my business, it's actually what I help my clients to do as well. I see myself in a lot of ways. What I do with my clients is I listen to them, I hear what their dreams are, how they want to be seen, and I help them to reach that potential through their visual brand, or with their visual brand. So over the years of growing my business, over the years of working with business owners as they grow their business, the one thing that I have come to know without a shadow of a doubt is that the success of your business depends on you standing out. That doesn't mean that you need to do something outrageous. It doesn't mean that you need to pull stunts or wear clothes that don't feel like you or do things that you feel that you should be doing. It's the very opposite. The way that you stand out is by being wholeheartedly 100% yourself. Because if we each, one of the founding principles of personal branding is that if we each be ourselves, there is no such thing as competition, because people will be drawn to us as individuals. So I'm going to tell you some stories of some of my clients, okay? And they're to illustrate some of these points. So the first one, stepping into your brand means stepping into your success. So how many of you have a logo for your business?
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really. I have a logo, and I love my logo. I invested a lot of money in my logo, and I feel like my business has grown into it. However, it is the easiest thing to hide behind. Or like me, when I got my logo and I got my new website 2.5 years ago, and I would spend days at home putting new pages on my website. But I didn't have any clients, because I was sitting at my desk putting pages on my website, because I was hiding. I was hiding, and I didn't know how not to hide. But once I put the things together of, hey, I adore personal branding, I adore photographing people, I adore getting to know people. If I can put that together, I could talk about this. I might have got 20 minutes, I could talk about this for hours. And stepping into my brand was, for me, stepping into my success. And I have seen that happen time and time with my clients. And I want to tell you a story of Saskia. Beautiful Saskia. She's a Dutch lady, she lives in Cork. And she is a consultant. She's a business coach. So for business owners who are struggling to sort of run their businesses and their lives, I suppose would be a way of putting it. This was Saskia's online presence before we worked together. Now, I'm not going to tell you that photographs will like change your business. They're sort of the tangible aspect of growth. You know, like when my clients come to me, they've already done a huge amount of work. They've done a huge amount of growth. And then these photographs are representative both of where they have come from and who they are becoming. So when Saskia launched her new website with her new images on it, the word that she used was power. She felt like she was stepping into her power. And it was for her a very real representation of how she was growing as a business owner and how her business was growing. Because your business deserves that visual brand. And you know, often when we like before, like Saskia's before image, she had this lovely photograph that somebody took for her, and it was fine, and it was a picture of her. But we need those images that are strong, but that aren't stock images, you know, because it's not about having the image that's powerful. It has to be coming from somewhere also, because your business is not someone doing something close to what you do. Yeah, it has to be you. And whether it's images or whether it's video or live videos or selfies, you know, that you're getting yourself out there, that you're putting yourself, I mean, you're here today, you're networking in person. So being able to do that. For my business, I got my photographs done last year. I was already in branding for almost a year at that point. You know, it's not something that we do at the beginning. It's something that we do as part of the growth. Guilt. A very, very Irish thing, I think. But we have this idea of, oh Jesus, if I have now, I mean, have you seen my stand? Have you been out at my stand? And I've got this massive banner and it's got my face on it. And it's fucking horrifying. Like, let's be honest. It frightened the life out of my husband when I left it up in the living room. But I've never had anyone come up to me and go, who the hell do you think you are getting photographs of yourself? Nobody's going to say that to you, but we have this thing of like, well, who am I to be photographed? That's a guilt thing. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help anybody. This beautiful woman, Sally Murphy, she shared these photographs on her Facebook. And you'll see just at the top, she's got my website link, because she wasn't doing it to promote herself, she was doing it to thank me. Okay, because she was very nervous having her photograph taken, and she's a communications consultant, so she was one of the first people ever to articulate those fears and that anxiety around being photographed. And she said to me before we took the photos, "Is this false advertising? Because I don't usually look this good." Now look at her. I mean, she's gorgeous. She'd put on some lipstick. She'd had her hair done. It's her though, you know? But when she shared this, whenever I took this screenshot, 230 reactions, 106 comments. Do you think any of them said, "Ah, Sally, go on, look at you"? No, they all said, "Oh my God, Sally, amazing, see, you look fantastic." And when Sally puts this on the front of her website, when we both spoke at a conference in NUI Galway last week, and she said, you know, having that photograph that I can send with my conference application pack, that I feel legitimate. I feel like I'm a professional, you know? And her business has grown from strength to strength in the last year since she started. It was a very early kind of thing, but that guilt was there, but she kind of put it to one side. How am I doing for time?
10 past 1.
Oh, okay. So I'm just aware of the fact. And another thing, we're all terrified, yeah? Oh, but I don't look good enough to have my photographs taken. Oh, but I need to look more like her that I see on Instagram, or him that I've seen doing his videos. Because we're all afraid that we're not good enough. But the fact of the matter is that you already know how to look amazing, because you showing up is you looking amazing. Yes, my clients will get their hair done, get their makeup done, make sure their clothes are pressed and clean. But that's what you do if you were standing in front of a room of your most dream clients. That's what you would do if you were showing up. But that doesn't change who you are. That's just you showing up as the best version of yourself. This woman, Mel, this is kind of just for me. So I do a gallery reveal. So when my clients get the photos, we get online together. Because it's, again, like I said, getting a gallery of photographs of yourself, you know, you don't want to be alone when that happens. So we do it together online. And so she said, I just got off my Zoom call with Éadaoin to walk me through my pictures, and I can't stop smiling and saying, oh my God. The photographs, every single photo is breathtaking, authentic, beautiful, and me, but better. This was Chicago in August last year. It was hot. So Melissa had the fantastic idea of having her makeup artist come with us for the day, which was amazing. So, you know, having her makeup done was really important for the photographs. But if you look at a selection of Melissa's Instagram grid, on her way out to a conference, I think top right-hand corner here in her home office, she's not wearing makeup. Because she understood that having her makeup done for her photo shoot was important, but that doesn't mean that that's how she has to show up every single day. Because she knows that she already looks amazing just by showing up. Her Instagram is great, by the way. If you like Instagram stories, she talks a lot in her Instagram stories, and she's really awesome. Melissa McSherry, so she's Irish-American, of course. But I've highlighted just with the yellow stars, the images that we made on Melissa's shoot. You know, and she's peppering them in there. She's using them with selfies. She's using them with images that she's taking in her everyday life, because she understands at a very intrinsic level that just showing up is enough. And while it's nice to look your best, you don't have to look like that every day, you know? Our clients just want to see us. Our prospects just want to get to know us, you know? Okay, so here's a question. Please don't answer it out loud. Don't say anything. But when you look at this picture, one or two words that come into your mind. I don't want to hear it. And I don't mean that as in I don't want to hear it, but it's not the necessary thing. But I want to tell you what I see when I look at that picture. I see my frizzy hair that will never do what it's told. I see my teeth that have been the bane of my life since I was 8 years old. I see my pudgy, hairy arms that I never even thought about until I was getting my photographs taken. These were the thoughts that went through my head in the 2 weeks coming up to my photo shoot. I've been studying personal branding for 10 years. I've been growing my brand. I understand it's always going to be a work in progress, but still, the thought that kept going through my head was, is my brand even good enough to promote? Is it developed enough? Do I know what I'm talking about? And the best one, who am I to get my photos taken? I asked that of myself. I had the voice of a girl that I went to primary school with, who I haven't seen since I left primary school, 20 odd years ago. I haven't seen her, but her voice was at the back of my head, telling me how short I am, how short my fingers are, that I didn't deserve to have my photographs taken. But you know what, I did it anyway, because I understood the importance of it. But Melanie's not here. But that's how I felt when I was getting it. And it's how I feel when I use my photographs, and it's how some of my clients feel, I'm sure. But that doesn't matter, because that's not what you saw when you looked at that photograph. You didn't think imposter, did you? No. Exactly. So that's just an example, I suppose, from my point of view. But the point is that your brand is not about you. These photographs, or these videos, or these articles you write, they're not about you. They're not for your ego. They're not for your praise. Who are they about? Clients. Think about the last person that you worked with, that you really loved working with, that you really helped. Do you think that they're the only person who exists who needs your help? Your clients need you, and they need to be able to find you. And they may find you through photographs, or through the articles that you write, or through the videos that you do. But just so you know, you can't print videos, and we process images 60,000 times faster than we process text. Over 90% of human communication is visual. So the old phrase, a picture speaks 1,000 words, it still rings true. And more now, I think, than ever. You know, being able to make eye contact with somebody as you're scrolling through your Instagram or your Facebook, seeing somebody who you know is a real person, is going to be enough to stop you sometimes. And not every time, and that's okay, because not everybody is your client, and you're not everybody else's client. Okay, so very, very quickly, because sometimes, you know, it's like, well, what actually is a brand? Is it my logo? Is it my colours? Okay, so this, Brene Brown, you know Brene
Yes.
Brown?
Yeah.
So the woman who runs Great Creative Branding Agency is who created Brene's brand, and she's the woman that I have learned about branding from. So she says, Kathleen Shannon says, that branding is not just a logo, it's not just consistent typography and colours, it's not just your brushed up mission statement, website, business card, or your email signature. It can include all of these things, but it is so much more. If you think about it like this, your brand is a considered representation. Okay, so you get to choose how the world sees you. You know the way when we're at home with our grandparents, we use maybe slightly different language, the language we'd use in the pub with our friends on a Saturday night. That's kind of what a brand is. You know, you kind of get to decide how people are seeing you. And if you think about it in terms of music, you know, there are musicians who will always be associated with one particular genre, or when you think of them, you think of their one song. Like it's that strength of the link, I suppose. But also, you know, it's the kind of thing where not everybody is going to like that. That polarity of response is really important too, you know. So here's a question. I'm not going to dwell on this too long, but if you want to take a picture of this, you're more than welcome. These are some questions to ask yourself when you're considering, are you in your brand? Okay, so is your name, and I mean first name and surname, on your website, your social media bios, and your business card? Because people want to know. You send them a message and they don't want to have to say, oh, hi. Maybe they want to use your name. Yeah, no, absolutely, go for it. Do you have a photograph of yourself as your profile image on social media? Like I said, you can't make eye contact with a logo. Do you have a photograph of yourself and some basic information on your website's about page? You know, when you go to the about page of a website because you think maybe the company's Irish, or you want to know more, and you just see more about the business or their service. We go to the about page because we want to know a little bit about you. Maybe really want to know about how you can help us, but we want to know about you. Do you take selfies and share them on your social media and get social? This is something that I sometimes forget to do, but I'm trying. Do you have a story or message that connects and tells people exactly what you do? And do you do videos? So live streaming on Facebook, really, really easy way to get your point of view out there, to get people connected with you. You can practice in private. You can set your settings to only me. You can practice away and nobody ever needs to see that you did it. But it's a really, when you're starting off, especially, when you don't want to be investing in things until you've got your point of view really strong. But this is something that's really important. When we think about it from a personal brand point of view, your story is your brand. Okay, where you've come from, the roadblocks that you've hit, the successes that you've had, they are part of your brand. This is a photographer. Audrey Dalton is her name, Portrait Photography. She's a dog photographer. And dogs are a very, very important part of Audrey's business and her life, because she will openly admit that her 2 dogs saved her life. And being able to celebrate the relationship that she has with her dogs and her clients have with their dogs is a really big part of her story. So having her photographs, having her story in photographs has been a really, really important part of her brand. This is another photographer actually, Stuart James. He's a Northern English photographer. And as a wedding photographer, still, his first picture on his homepage is him, because he understands the value of his story. These 2 coloured photographs are the ones that we shot. You can see his beautiful work here. But here, the second photograph, that's a photograph of him and his wife. Because he knows as a wedding photographer, talking about his marriage, sharing the fact that he's married is an important part of his brand. So I would encourage you to think about your story. And then the last thing, an awesome brand means awesome clients, means awesome money. And what I mean there is that when you have a really clear brand, it raises, hi Mary, how are you? It raises your perceived value. And what that means is then you stop being a commodity, you stop being just another consultant or just another coach. You start trading on your value as a person. And it means that you can charge accordingly. Okay? This is a client, Tanya, who started a business she is New York born millennial who's moved to Ireland. She works for Facebook at the moment, and she set up a company to help people move to Ireland to work in tech. And having her brand photographs from the start was a really, really big part of developing how she was communicating with her clients. So straight away, she had the strategy, she knew what she was doing, and she knew that that visual element of it would help people to understand and connect with her so much faster. That was in November. We did a second shoot for her second business about 6 weeks ago, because this has gone so well that she's now quitting her job in Facebook, and she's going to run both of those businesses. And she's 26. It's great. She's brilliant. And these are just a few examples of some work that I've done. Making acupuncture look like it might be fun. This was a really interesting one actually. Karen wanted like stock images of herself. So we kind of made a lot of stock images for her, so that when you go into her injury clinic, she's a physiotherapist in Castlebar, the person that you saw in the stock images on the website is the person who's sitting at the desk listening to you. And she's found that congruence of the online and the physical real life presence has meant that people come in straight away, they trust her immediately because they already feel like they know her. And they've gotten to like, and she's smiling while she's sticking needles into them. It's great. I do photograph gentlemen, not that often, but it's just how it's happened, I suppose. People often ask me, oh, do you only photograph women? No, I photograph people who are very aware of how important relationships are in their business. They tend to have quite a strong feminine energy, insofar as, like, for example, this gentleman, Carl, is a sales consultant, but for family businesses. So it's very much about relationships and stuff. So before I finish up, I have a guide. I suppose it's kind of like my manifesto. If you would like a copy of it, I have it here. I also have an email sequence that goes with it if you would like to hear more. But before I give that out, I'd love to ask it, does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
I have been in Ireland for 17 years now, and I remember when I introduced myself the first time when I said my name, someone was just like, I'm going to call you CK, and I've been saying that name now, and now I want to reclaim my name back, so I just want to go back to when you were asking about what does it say about you. So when the last couple of years I've introduced myself under one name,
Yes.
and now when I go back to using my actual birth name, it's on my business cards, and it's on my email address, and
Yeah.
not have to constantly explain why I use one name and then go on to another. I just want to kind of figure out how you would portray that in the bio or talk about yourself.
I think you've just answered the question. How amazing is that? Like even that phrase, reclaiming my birth name.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. That's your story.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
like, tell me your name again. Sorry.
It's I go by CK, but my
Yeah.
name is Swan.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I was 10 years old, made a friend, she was from Wicklow, and I just told her my name, 'cause I was so excited. And
And
then,
she just
like,
went,
she was like, I'm gonna call you CK. And like that's literally with me, and I was like, okay.
But you know
And
that that's still going to happen probably.
Yeah.
But that's okay because that's part it's not your job to educate people,
Yeah,
but it's your right to own your name.
yeah.
In Vietnam, and Mr. Viet said to me, "But your name means who is crazy in Vietnamese. Like, what's this? You know, everybody's name in Vietnam means something, and yours means who is crazy. You know, so that's why I had to find out what my name meant.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, but that's part of the story. So use it.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, you want about that. Yes. Ooh, hands. I'm gonna go for this lady here.
Hi, thanks for your talk, really enjoyed it and love
Thank
your
you.
photographs as well. I'm just wondering, I suppose we're in an age where we're bombarded with images on every type of social media. Do you have any tips for how to make your photographs stand out? You know, that will actually make people stop and look and...
So short answer, hire me. But if you're earlier than that in your business journey, I would say be yourself. Play around with it a little bit. Make eye contact with your camera. You know when you're taking a selfie, you know when you see that picture where somebody's taking a selfie but they're too busy looking at their own face on their phone, so they're not making eye contact. Find the lens of your camera on your phone and always look at that. Even when I'm doing live videos, I always speak directly to the lens, so that eye contact I would say would be really important. Sorry, I'm just really aware that the beautiful Anne is about to come up on stage in a minute. I'm just going to check time. Okay, we've got about 3 more minutes. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation.
Thank you.
Just picking up on the man thing.
Yes.
I'm just looking around the room, this is only a handful of us.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something about men only tend to come to you because they have a positive feminine energy. What's going on there?
Okay,
Does
so
that
yeah.
suit the medium?
No, what I would say there is, so all of my clients have quite a strong feminine energy. So not all women are going to be my clients. Do you know what I mean? Like I know for a fact, like I have people who would kind of be like maybe allies, you know, as in their like in branding or stuff, who could be somebody that might be able to refer me, but because our energy is different, they're not then my allies. So what I would say is my clients have a very strong feminine energy in that they understand the meaning of the value of relationships and the value of story, but they also have to have a very strong masculine energy in order to be able to run their business.
Right.
Do you know? Do you know what? To be honest, it's probably a true virtue of the kind of networking that I've done over the last couple of years as well. You know, it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. I feel like, and then I suppose it's self-perpetuating because I have so many women in my portfolio. But I do photograph men, and it's interesting, like one of my clients that I worked with recently, he was a gentleman who's a marketing exec, and he's going out to market. He's in his late 50s maybe, and was very aware that he needed to come across as himself, you know, as relevant and younger maybe than his aesthetic would suggest. So that's what we worked with during his shoot. You know, we made sure that he came across as that, you know. Does that answer your question?
Thanks.
And you, sir?
Oh yeah, just a quick question. I use Facebook to promote myself a lot of my business and that. Would you recommend putting a picture in with each piece of text, or
Yeah, I think so.
even if it's not that relevant to the actual? Because Because you know the way it's hard to make a picture always relevant to what you're trying to say.
Yes, I do. I do know what you're saying. Yeah, you don't want to annoy people by, like, they see a picture and then they go to read about it and it's not that picture at all. So I don't. Have you tested it yourself? Like, which posts do better if you have an image with the text, or like it depends on your business, I suppose, as well. You know, an image on its own is probably not going to do anything. You do need to have a message that connects and a caption that's going to kind of, you know, stir the emotions. But I would say it's something that you'd probably have to test for your own business. And don't don't annoy people by showing them images that aren't connected then to what you're talking about.